Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of Carnegie Borough Council to order. The meeting date, in case you received a copy of our agenda, the meeting date is actually Monday, November 9th, not Monday, November 11th. We'll begin with a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Steve, would you take roll call, please?
Councilperson Navarro.
Here.
Councilperson Boyd.
Here.
Councilperson Demko.
Here.
Councilperson Sarsfield.
Here.
Councilperson DeLoss. Here. Council President Katina.
Here.
Mayor Kubistik. Here. We have quorum.
Thank you. Is there any public comment on any of the listed motions this evening? If there is, please come forward, state your name and address, and please keep your comment to 3 minutes or less. Thank you. Seeing no one stepping forward, we'll begin with administration. Councilman Sarsfield.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion A is a motion to approve the minutes from the council meeting on October 12th, 19th, and 26th of 2015.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to engage the Cohen Law Group in accordance with the terms presented to the Charter West Cog to assist the borough in performing a cable compliance review and conducting franchise renewal negotiations with Verizon Pennsylvania Incorporated.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor signify. Okay. A roll call vote, please, Steve.
Councilperson Sarsfield.
Yes.
Councilperson Navarro.
Yes.
Councilperson Boyd.
Yes.
Councilperson DeLoss.
Yes.
Councilperson Demko.
Yes.
Council President Katina.
Yes.
We have a quorum.
Motion C is a motion to adopt revised regulations for the handling of the right to know request by the Borough of Carnegie.
We can just,
We can, yeah.
we'll go back to it. Second? Second. Second. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on this item? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. 1C.
Motion to authorize the President of the Council, Borough Manager, and Borough Solicitor to prepare and execute the documents necessary to obtain the 2016 TAN anticipation loan from PNC Bank in the amount of $1 million at the rate not to exceed 1.485% with no origination fee, pending credit approval.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion?
It's a tax anticipation.
Seeing no discussion, roll call vote, please, Steve.
Councilperson Sarsfield.
Yes.
Councilperson DeLoss.
Yes.
Councilperson Demko.
Yes.
Councilperson Boyd.
Yes.
Councilperson Navarro.
Yes.
Council President Katina.
Yes.
Motion passes.
My next motion is a motion to offer conditional offer of employment to Victoria Minor for the position of part-time meter enforcement officer in accordance with the current labor agreement. Current wage in accordance with the CBA is $10.79 per hour.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Discussion?
I'd just like to say we've been looking for some time. Our full-time meter guy will be retiring, so this person will be replacing Tom Pohl at some point. but, you know, as the parking lots are finished, it's important that we enforce our meters and our parking regulations. So this was definitely a needed hire.
Just to clarify, this hire is actually going to be split, Tom's duties are actually going to be split into 2 employees, both part-timers with no full-time benefits, correct? Okay. Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded. Roll call vote, please, Steve.
Councilperson Boyd?
Yes.
Councilperson DeLoss?
Yes.
Councilperson LeVara?
Yes.
Councilperson Sarsfield?
Yes.
Councilperson Demko?
Yes.
Council President Katina?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next motion is motion to offer conditional offer of employment to Dennis O'Donovan for the position of part-time meter enforcement officer in accordance with the current labor agreement. Current wage in accordance with the CBA is $10.79 per hour.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion?
Just for clarification, Mr. President, for those that don't know, CBA is an abbreviation for collective bargaining agreement.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded. Roll call vote, please, Steve.
Councilperson LeVara?
Yes.
Councilperson Boyd?
Yes.
Councilperson Demko?
Yes.
Councilperson DeLoss?
Yes.
Councilperson Sarsfield?
Yes.
Council President Katina?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Finance, Councilman DeLoss.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to approve the November bill list and bill list addendum.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, roll call vote, please, Steve.
Councilperson Sarsfield?
Yes.
Councilperson Demko?
Yes.
Councilperson DeLoss? Yes. Councilperson LeVara?
Yes.
Councilperson Boyd?
Yes.
Council President Katina?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Public Works, Councilwoman Demko.
Motion to approve payment application number 2 to Youngblood in the amount of $31,047.83 for work completed between August 16th and September 30th, 2015 for the 2015 pavement maintenance program, contract number 2015-03.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, roll call vote, please, Steve.
Councilperson DeLoss?
Yes.
Councilperson Demko?
Yes.
Councilperson Boyd?
Yes.
Councilperson LeVara?
Yes.
Councilperson Sarsfield?
Yes.
Council President Katina?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve payment application number 2 to Leotis Construction Incorporated in the amount of $128,227.81 for work completed between August 31st and October 30th, 2015 for the Charles Street, Knox Avenue Bypass Culvert Sewer Project, contract number 2015-02A.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion?
Mr. President, this represents the completion of the sewer project, which was the main piece of the project designed to alleviate flooding in the Franklin area, Charles Street, California corridor, resulting from the flood that we had last summer, a year ago last summer. And this amount of $128,000 is the remaining payment, with the borough still retaining approximately $13,000 for any work that might need to be done.
And there were liquidated damages because of the cost, because of the overrun.
Yes, there was an overrun of approximately $30,000 that they requested payment for, and we felt that half of that approximately was legitimate and half of it was not, because of delays that they had in their scheduling. So the additional $15,000 is basically coming out of bond money that we're retaining from them.
Thank
So
you.
originally there was about $28,000 in bond retainage, $15,000 in overage, and so we're retaining about $13,000 for any potential rework.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded. Roll call vote, please, Steve.
Councilperson Sarsfield?
Yes.
Councilperson DeLoss?
Yes.
Councilperson Demko?
Yes.
Councilperson Boyd?
Yes.
Councilperson LeVar?
Yes.
Council President Katina?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Quick, before you read this motion, I have a question for our solicitor. And I just realized this. This is the motion to make Steve and I the signatories. We're not actually entering into the consent order. Do we need to do that tonight as well, or no? Or is this just the...
That resolution authorizes you folks to enter into consent.
So I was afraid because I didn't understand that out of that. But that's the way that it's meant to be taken. Okay. All right, so go ahead.
Motion to adopt resolution number 2015-12, a resolution of the Borough of Carnegie authorizing Patrick Katina, Council President, and Steve Buter, Borough Manager, as signatories for the Carnegie Consent Order Agreement.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, roll call vote, please, Steve.
Councilperson LeVar?
Yes.
Councilperson Boyd?
Yes.
Councilperson Demko?
Yes.
Councilperson Sarsfield?
Yes.
Councilperson DeLoss?
Yes.
Council President Katina?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to advertise and begin taking application for the position of Department of Public Works Equipment Operator.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Public safety, Councilman Boyd.
Motion to adopt ordinance. Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to adopt ordinance number 2419, an ordinance of the Borough of Carnegie, County of Allegheny, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, amending Chapter 15, Section 204 of the Borough Code of Ordinances relating to motor vehicles and traffic. Namely, on Christie Street, there'll be no parking on one side of the road.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries.
Motion B is a motion to advertise ordinance 2421, an ordinance of the Borough of Carnegie, County of Allegheny, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, amending Chapter 15, Section 204 of the Borough Code of Ordinances relating to motor vehicles and traffic, adding an ordinance where there would be 2-hour parking allowed on Morrow Avenue.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion?
Just the usual 2-hour parking when it comes to the bus issues. There's a busway right down the road from the Bell Station. And we've had some complaints from residents that people were parking on further up on Morrow and taking the bus.
Or a vacation.
Or vacation maybe, right. The bus does go to the airport.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries.
Motion C is a motion to appoint Sandy Phillips to fill the current vacancy on the Civil Service Commission with a term ending December 31st, 2016.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I just want to comment that this position's been vacant for some period of time. Carl McDougal had served in this capacity, and Carl passed away. But Sandy Phillips is a lifelong resident here in the borough. His father actually was an employee of our public works for many years. His parents were great people, and Sandy's always been looked to take another step in getting involved in the community. He's very excited to take this on, and I think he'll do a swell job for us.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded. Roll call vote, please, Steve.
Councilperson LeVar?
Yes.
Councilperson Sarsfield?
Yes.
Councilperson DeLoss?
Yes.
Councilperson Boyd?
Yes.
Councilperson Demko?
Yes.
Council President Katina?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion D is a motion to adopt resolution 2015-11, a resolution of the Borough of Carnegie establishing a handicap parking space at 203 Railroad Avenue.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Community Development and Code Enforcement, Councilman LeVara.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to authorize the Borough Manager to provide notifications and advertise Borough Ordinance 2420, an ordinance of the Borough of Carnegie vacating Market Alley and Ash Way.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on this item? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries.
Motion to approve the application of Leonard and Pamela Klemensick to develop the property located at 301 West Main Street, lot and blocks 103-P-322, as recommended by the Planning Commission on October 27, 2015.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Second. Any discussion on this item?
Yes, I just was at the planning commission meeting, and the individual had proposed that they will be having a business on the first floor. This is the old Rome Hardware building, and the business it sounds like it's a pretty artistic type business where they will be they find useful. They actually reuse old items and turn it into something special. So I'm looking forward to the business, and there will be 5 apartments on the top. So I think that'll be a nice addition to that corner. That corner has been vacant for, well, not really vacant completely, but much of it has been vacant for quite a while.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded. Roll call, or I'm sorry. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries.
Motion to approve the application of the Allegheny County Department of Emergency Services to install a backup generator at the property located at 900 Doolittle Avenue, lot and blocks 103-E-80, as recommended by the Planning Commission on October 27, 2015.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on this item?
Yeah, I was at the planning commission meeting, and one of the factors why they need this backup generator up there is there have been outages in that area, and right now the 911 system utilizes that cell tower, and when there's outages, that prevents the use of 911 in that area. So they've had outages that were much longer than what the backup they have up there. The individual from the county said this is not your mom and pop's generator. This is a self-contained unit that's very quiet, and nobody will even know it's up there. So he was pretty adamant that this is a completely different generator than most people are used to.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries.
Motion D, which was to approve a curb cut application on the property located at 608 6th Avenue, is being tabled to allow the applicant the opportunity to comply with certain zoning provisions, and therefore will be on a later agenda. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. We'll have committee reports. Administration, Councilperson Sarsfield.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to update the residents that we're currently looking at pricing on light poles for the future for Main Street to replace and repair what is existing there, and also should be by next month, if not sooner, that the United States flag will be lit on here. And I want to thank Public Works for their help in all this. That's all I have.
Thank you. Finance, Councilperson DeLuise.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just wanted to mention that we continue in budget review season right now, and we have meetings scheduled for 16 November and 30 November. The public is welcome to attend any and all of these budget discussions. And we have one last meeting scheduled for the 28th of December, should it be needed. for a final ratification before the end of the year. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. Code Enforcement and Community Development, Councilperson LaFleur.
There's no report at this time, thank you.
Thank you. Public Works, Councilperson Demko.
No, I was going to touch on the lights, but Mr. Sarsfield did, so we're good. Of course.
Thank you. Public Safety, Councilperson Boyd.
Just have one thing, I guess I'll mention we had a small incident at the fire department recently where one of the two cables that holds up each of the garage doors snapped, and the door abruptly and rather quickly slammed to the ground. Nobody got hurt, but it shattered, I don't know, 10 or 12 panes of glass, made quite a mess, didn't damage the door. We filed an insurance claim, unless our deductible, the repairs will be made. We've since had a contractor come in and replace all the cables on all the doors, because all the cables on all the doors are about the same age. So it kind of made sense if one's going to snap that another one will follow shortly on. But hopefully that should not happen again in the near future. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Presidential Brian, I have no report this evening. Manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just have a couple updates as far as some of the grant program we're working on. We're currently working with the DEP to get new recycle bins for the borough. As you know, a lot of the ones that we have now, after the years of abuse, unfortunately, have seen their better days. So we're working on getting those. We're also waiting to hear from the state with our automated red light enforcement grant. As of earlier this year, we were able to get about 80% of all brand new street lights and stoplights installed. We are waiting to do the remaining of the lights on Chestnut and Forsyth. So we should hear that in the next couple of days. And also we applied for a crossing light or a crosswalk at the elementary school that will allow all of the walkers and obviously make it a little safer there for the children crossing. Obviously, one of the topics we're looking at right now is new decorative light poles within the business district. Some of the ones down there have seen their better days, so we have a couple of different programs that we're going to try to apply for within the next couple of months, so hopefully I should have some more information there. That's all I have for this evening.
Thank you. Greg, Volunteer Fire Department EMS report.
Thank you, Mr. President. EMS had 147 calls in October. Fire department answered 16 calls. Of these, there were a couple more false alarms at Carnegie Towers. There have been 11 alarms or false alarms at Carnegie Towers, which are 8 more than is allowed by a relatively new ordinance within the borough. There's a fine associated with each one of those over the allowable, which is fine and dandy. It's still significantly better than it was a couple of years ago, where we were running somewhere between 6 and 7 calls a month to the borough. One 10-month period of time, we tracked 62 calls. That's significantly better than it was back in the old days. There was one small kitchen fire on Franklin Avenue, a little cooking incident, or steak abuse incident at Honus Wagner. I never thought a steak cooked in an iron skillet could produce so much smoke, but it can, evidently, because all that was left was dust in the frying pan when we got inside, but nobody got hurt. We ventilated the apartment, and it may still smell a little bit, but that was fine and dandy. We also had a CO alarm call near Carnegie Park recently that actually could have ended quite badly were it not for the fact that these folks had a CO alarm. And when they came home from being out to dinner, they heard the CO alarm going off, so they called us and we came up. And typically, the CO alarm will go inside, and generally it's a furnace or a hot water heater, and our meters will read somewhere in the 38 to 50 to sometimes even a little bit higher than that range. Anywhere around 35 is where a residential CO alarm will go off. When we made entry into the house, our meter showed 1150. I've never seen, I didn't even know it would go to 4 digits, to tell you the truth. Turns out somebody got sidetracked, forgot what they were doing, and left the car running downstairs. When we got there, we didn't hear the car because it ran out of gas. But suffice it to say, carbon monoxide is a silent killer. You won't know you're being overcome until you're overcome, so it's a good thing they had a CO alarm and it was in working order, so let's hear it for those folks for taking care of themselves. We did send 10 firefighters over to the Crafton Towers under the mutual aid arrangement. I don't know if you read about the fire in Crafton Towers. They had one apartment that was damaged pretty badly, but 7 floors filled with smoke, so it took an awful lot of people to get the smoke out of the building and do what was necessary to make the building safe and habitable again. And that's all I have this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mayor's report?
Thank you, Mr. President. For October, the criminal arrests and citations were 22, parking tickets 193, traffic citations were 31, complaints of self-initiated activity were 9,590. Little bit of warning right now, we are having a major issue in many parts of this community where individuals or a individual are going through unlocked vehicles. The most recent one has been right up where they're in the Newkirk area, and there have been some tolls missing from vehicles. Once again, we remind everybody, please lock your vehicles. It's very important. This issue isn't just specific to Carnegie. It's actually, the chief has talked to a number of the other chiefs from the areas, the surrounding areas, and this is an issue that just about every community around us is experiencing. So the first thing you need to do is lock your vehicles. The second thing you need to do is make sure you have no valuables in your vehicles, and if you have to keep a valuable in your vehicle, make sure it's out of sight. So that's just a little word of warning there. Our police department made an arrest for a burglary up in the Dow and Dawson area. The interesting thing is that we feel that this individual may be connected to other burglaries in and around the area. So we're waiting for some forensics to come back to determine if that is the case. Recently, we've talked about this a number of times. We upgraded our solicitor permits thanks to our staff down there, Renee Holden, has done a fantastic job. Upgraded these solicitor permits, so from now on, when people get a permit to solicit in our community, this is the permit that they will be getting. It has a picture of the person on there, has an ID number, and it has a permit number also, and an expiration date. So it's very visible, and they're supposed to be wearing this when they solicit. But once again, if you have any questions, whether someone has a permit or not, if somebody's strange in your neighborhood, please call 911. Report them, let our police check it out. But I really want to thank Renee, the chief, and of course for making sure that this permit gets done, because it's something that we need. A little bit of update on the traffic and construction. The Parkway, they're winding down with the Parkway construction. At this time, they still have one major paving project to do, and that is the tie-ins at the bridges. As soon as the bridges are complete, which, if the weather holds up, will be by next weekend, they will pave the tie-ins. Once they pave the tie-ins to the bridges, then there's a good chance that there won't be much left to do, and then the Parkway should be open maybe early, no later than mid-December. But if the weather becomes a problem, they could push this back for quite a while and if they can't get in it before the end of December, they will just pave them with they'll just pave them with like a cold patch, and then they'll come back and pave them with a hot patch in the spring. So this paving, what what happens with this paving is there is a full closure for the weekend, and it would be each direction will be closed for 1 day during the paving. So the 21st is the scheduled date for this, but that's a tentative date. Campbell's Run. I talked to the construction manager on Campbell's Run, and the work up by the Knickerbockers. They've had about a 5 to 6 week delay with this work. There's a problem. They had a problem with the sanitary sewer, so they had 3 walls that they have to install. They have 1 wall installed at this time. They expanded their work days from 4 to 6, so they're working 6 days a week. Their goal is still to try to get it done on time, but right now it looks like it will be more towards the middle of December. If the weather really cooperates, they may be able to get it done beginning of December. Right now it looks like the end of December for Campbell's Run. And there is a possibility that they may not even get that paved this year and have to come back and close that again in the spring and repave and pave that with the hot patch. At this point, as you probably can imagine, weather is a big factor in all these projects. And then the third project is the Railroad Avenue Bridge. Now that's not scheduled to be done until the fall of 2016, and they don't have an official date yet, but anywhere between the fall of 2016 and the spring of 2017. It's a 3 to 4 month project. The bridge will be closed for 3 to 4 months. There'll be minimal disruption to the traffic on Campbell's Run and Chartiers. The main disruption will be towards the end of the project when they have to pave the tie-ins. And when they do that, there'll be some single lane traffic with a flagger out front. They don't plan on a full closure. But we'll keep you updated on that to see how that goes. Couple other things. Right now, our police department is participating in the Toys for Tots program, and anybody who wants to donate a new toy, please drop one off here at the Borough Building between 8 and 4. This is one of the top distribution centers in the area, so we thank you for the support in the past, and we expect that you'll probably give us continued support. So thank you very much. I want to thank the police department for the volleyball game. They played a nice volleyball game against the teachers of the school to raise money for the anti-bullying program. They raised $300. It was a nice evening, and all of the officers volunteered their time for a program that's very important to our school district, the anti-bullying. So, thank you, Chief, and your men. Appreciate it. A couple of dates coming up. We have the annual Light the Night. We technically can't call it Light Up Night, so it's Light the Night, and that's December 4th. That's Friday evening at 6 o'clock. We'll have our annual lighting of our holiday tree, and then on the next day we'll be doing our Carnegie Celebrates the Season, and that'll begin at 10 a.m. at the library. The format's going to be very similar to last year. The library, the children will make ornaments. They'll have a visit from Santa Claus, and there'll be cartoons and treats up there. And then when they're done there, we ask everyone to go down to the business district for a lot of other fun activities, including business, a window display competition, a Christmas display competition, or holiday display competition. So there'll be a lot going on in the business district, and there'll be more information on that to come to December 5th. November 29th is Small Business Saturday. That's the day after Black Friday, but that's the day that is set aside for people to shop locally. So if you're not doing anything on November 29th, stop down at one of your local stores and shop there for Christmas. That's a nice day to get out there and experience your small businesses here in Carnegie. And then lastly, I just want to say that the Boys and Girls Club, the 8th annual dinner dance at the Alpine Club, will be on November 22nd and that begins at 3 p.m. So that's a nice way to support the Boys and Girls Club too. Mansfield 5 will be the band there, and then there's food, and you can just call the Boys Club for tickets. And that's all I have today, Mr. President. Oh, wait. One more thing, Mr. President, too. I wanted to make sure that, sometimes we have meetings where we have to take action, and they're official public meetings. And we have to take action in those official public meetings, but it's not the official voting meeting. We don't have a lot of individuals there. But I just wanted to make sure that I let everyone know that recently there was an action taken by council that was supporting an action taken by the mayor and the chief of police. So on October 26th, there was a motion to confirm and approve the personnel action taken by the mayor for the police department. Okay, and that action was seconded by Councilman Sarsfield, and there was a roll call vote, and it was unanimous, it passed unanimously. But I just wanted to make sure that that information gets disseminated at the public meeting also, so that individuals know that what is going on in their town. So, thank you.
Thank you. We'll now have general public comment. Again, anyone wishing to address council, please state your name and address. Please keep your comments limited to 3 minutes or less.
My name is Darlene Consul. Y'all pretty much know me. I live on Chestnut Street, and I'm here for the same reason that I've been here for the past 22 years. And that is the speed of the drivers that come down Forsyth onto Chestnut. Yesterday morning, on my way to work, I had to do a horrific thing, at least horrific to me. I had to get out of my car and clean up somebody's pet that was in the middle of the street, ran over. It was horrible. At any rate, I put it in a bag to the side, hoping that if it was somebody's in the neighborhood that they could get it and see it. Well, when I come home from work today, the bag was there, so I took it and I have it at home, and I'm going to bury it when my off day comes up. I've tried and I've thought and I've thought and I've tried and tried and tried and tried. The only thing that has ever worked, and this is through how many different chiefs, how many different mayors, how many different council persons, if they can put a space station in space, if they can do so many other things, why can't they stop the speeders on that street? You mentioned earlier in the meeting about 2 part-time meter readers. Well, let's get 2 part-time new policemen. If we don't have enough police, if we have to raise the taxes 1/10 of a milliliter to get 2 part-time police to give out tickets, 31 tickets. I can remember a few years ago when it was 91. We're down to 31 tickets. That's 5 weeks, 4 weeks in a month. If they could give out 12 tickets a week on that street, word gets around. If you hit somebody in the wallet for breaking the law, they'll think twice about doing it the next time. Something has to be. I almost got hit when I was cleaning the cat up. And that's the God's truth. It's horrible the way they come down that street. And then they level out and speed up because they're not going fast enough and come down in front of my place around that bend. I also last month requested, or maybe the month before last, about having the white line that was from Dorothy's down around to Henry Lane replaced because it's kind of dug up in places and whatnot. Well, that didn't happen.
You talking about the fast car lines?
Yeah, a guideline, what, something, I don't know what the name of this is.
Is
about
that
this
the fast car
virus.
lines, Chief?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I realize that police officers get hurt and get sick and whatnot. I mean, over years of work, I understand that. I've gotten hurt over years of work. But surely to God, 12 tickets a week, word gets around. It gets around in other communities. The only thing that ever worked, and this is what I was just sitting there thinking, this is what gets me. If we clean the streets, if we cut the weeds, we cut the branches up and down that street, it's a state-maintained road, why can't we control the speed? Why can't we have that changed to 15, at least around that bend? A stop sign, a stoplight, something. The only thing that worked, and he said he took much grief for it, was the state thing that says crosswalk. Paint 2 white lines across there. People from Summit and people from Henry Lane should be able to cross the street without thinking about losing their life. There's no sidewalk on the right-hand side there. Y'all gotta help me. I asked Steve earlier, last summer, during the spring, summer, you, him, and Steve, Nick Colty were all supposed to get together and do a brainstorm. And I remember coming down once with him. I came down twice to check up what was the results. He wasn't in one day. The next time I come down, long story short, nothing's ever become of it. I just feel like I'm talking to the wind. You know what, maybe y'all can take me off the tax, when it comes on first or second person to pay my taxes every year, maybe you can take me off of that. I'm heartsick over this. I'm literally heartsick over this. It's a sin to walk out, yow, yow, yow. I may look like an idiot here, but I'm a serious idiot. Something needs to be done. Nobody should be. A lady come down and lives up on Warmley says, I'm afraid to walk down from Wabash, getting off the bus, coming home from work, walking down the sidewalk because she's afraid she's going to get hit from behind. And I can really understand that. I replaced hedges over 20 years, over and over and over and over and over again, and not one person ever left a note on my door saying, I'm sorry, I damaged your property. Give me a call.
Well, I can tell you this much. They do speed on that road. There's no doubt. We will do our best to monitor the road with what we have. And what happens is we monitor the road sometimes for a while. We hit it hard, and then
maybe if we did it continuous, because that's how word gets around. Don't speed down that street.
Well,
they'll be on you. It's horrible.
it's there.
Yeah, I think, Pat, if he just lowers it to 15 around that bend,
I'm the one that had the suggested 15 sign put up. I'm the one that had to go slow on the street signs put in. I'm the one that had the black arrows put in. I've been at this a long time. And you know what just dawned on me sitting there? Because a friend of mine lived on Woodwood, whatever. She says that 3 boroughs are on that street. Green Tree, Scott, and Carnegie. Are 3 boroughs on this street? Maybe we could keep the Scott police on Monday, the Carnegie police on Wednesday, and the Green Tree police on Friday.
There are 2 boroughs, but it was a borough in a township. And Scott Township is up a lot further up. You know where they are.
This is the God's truth. From Green Tree Road down to Mally's, excluding stopping at the red lights. You can do it and test it yourself. You cannot take your foot off your brakes from Green Tree Road down past to the first light to make a right to turn onto the parkway, or you will go past 25 miles per hour.
I know. That is the truth. It is tough to do 25 on that road. I have to agree with you. It is tough to do 25 on that road. Then you want to knock it down to 15.
Anything that will stop
right.
it. Put a stop sign here. Put another stop sign 1,000 yards down the road. Maybe they won't just blatantly blow through a stop sign.
Let us have our engineers. We actually have a nice gentleman with our engineers that actually has a lot of luck with PennDOT as far as getting things done.
Oh.
Let him take a look at it and see what he can come up with.
I had a state man in my yard with me, watching him come down for about an hour one time, about 10 years ago. He retired. And nothing ever happened.
Yeah, let us contact KLH and see what we can come up with, because Bob's the one who got the guardrail at Carnegie Park, which we were told no repeatedly and over a number of years, and he managed to get PennDOT to put that. So, yeah, let us get back to you, and we'll get in touch with Bob.
I appreciate it more than I have the words to say, and I would just like to conclude by saying I wish you and everybody in the borough a very happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you too.
And thank you for hearing me again. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thanks for caring.
Next, Rick McCall. I live on Grandview Avenue. I've been here a couple months, but I was here for a couple sessions complaining about the roads, the traffic from Comcast, the industrial park that Scott Township is financed from, that Carnegie doesn't have any money from. They're tearing up my road. You guys all talked about it, you understand it. Most of the people said, the road's in disrepair, but I just make sure it doesn't get shelved. I know.
No, we actually authorized a new road study.
Okay, so I know we were talking about it, and I know Swallow Hill's a priority. It's a terrible road. I just can't let my road, you know, be behind every time. Just remind me, but it's only a year or two. I also trying to get out. I live up on a hillside. There's only 2 ways out of that place. One is down the summit. My wife goes to work at 7:45, and sometimes she can't get out of there. You know, the cars just, you know, I'll tell you what, once the parkway opens back up, it's going to be worse because no one's coming down that road right now because they're not going to be able to get on the parkway. They're going to Green Tree Road, Banksville. So come January 1st, it's going to be even more kazoo.
See, I was wondering if it would actually slow things down, because I was thinking traffic would actually back up.
Traffic, and well, you know, but then people don't let us out. You know,
That's still gonna, yeah.
Right, I mean, it's gonna be a nightmare. I mean, traffic's been less, you know, but people do fly down, and it's hard to just go 25 down there, you know, or even, you know, I mean, I have a hard time running my brakes on that. But maybe a suggestion, I don't know if you have it, but I know I go through a few boroughs, not the open one, they have the sign that tells you how fast you're going, and it makes you think of the speed.
Well, we have that, we only have one, and it's, I raised the money for it, so I raised the money for it, we have it in the borough, and we alternate the different areas.
It does just make you aware of your speed sometimes.
Maybe we get one area that's permanent on Forsyth, that is it. But people get immune to that pretty quick.
I know.
They get, I mean, when we rotate, I think we have a little more success, and we keep it in one area for a long period of time.
But it is
I'll be like on Washington Avenue, when it's on Washington Avenue, people will be going in front of me, and I know they see the sign, but they don't care what it says.
And just, I don't know if it's too late or what, you know, the back way down there going into Ridge Road, which is, I don't know who owns, it's Scott or State or, but Forest Avenue, it's like the road looks like it's been bombed. I mean, my wife got a flat tire going down there, that's the only other way down, and get some cool patch on the holes. Because they're 6-7 inches deep. That's all caused by ATI and their equipment coming up there, because they run their trucks up Ridge Road to go to the back way because they want to come up.
Especially now, because we've been watching them a little more up there.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Police,
And he
police has
also-
been up there,
Right.
you know, we actually.
We also paid him a visit, he actually talked to their men.
Right, and they actually have been going slow.
And just so you know, we have written quite a few.
Yeah, I know, my wife's seen you guys, right, yeah, we gotta remind ourselves to stop at that stop sign too, but, you know. But they have been, I've been noticing, you know, because when we sitting out there, they're going slow, they're paying attention. But we still got the issue with the 51-foot trucks coming up there.
Yeah, I know.
We need to, you know, take a look at that.
They shouldn't be going up there.
No,
But
it's not
we
built for that, you
right.
can't, you know, you just can't negotiate the turn, you know, you park on the street, you know, rip your mirror off when the neighbor got their mirror tore off. So I just want to make sure it's not shelved. I know there's a lot of issues in the borough, but just want to keep.
None of your things are shelved.
Bugging your ear.
We appreciate it.
I still like, and back to you, darling, I'd really love to solve that Forsyth, because I'm telling you, you go 25 on Forsyth, somebody's right up your back
Right on
end.
your rear end.
Right on your rear end.
And right now with the parkway the way it is, you have Pat Transit buses, you have 5, I've never seen so many.
And
You have tractor trailers coming down there and they're clueless
See,
about
and
that.
that's another issue. There's another issue. See, there's no easy solution sometimes. And I don't mean to go off here, but Leonard, you talk about the tractor trailers. You know, we know that the tractor trailers should only be allowed to make a right coming off, or they shouldn't be allowed to make a left coming up the thing. But if you do that, then all those tractor trailers are going to be heading down Forsyth to get there. So that'll solve the problem there, but then that creates a bigger issue with all these trucks coming down Forsyth, which is a steep hill, it could be a problem.
Is there any way, I forgot, I mentioned it briefly, but is there any way that he said knows someone from the state, is there any way or any possibility for, like, not tomorrow, but for the summer coming up, to get lines painted across so we can, that thing you put there that time is the only thing that ever worked.
The state told me to take it away.
Yeah, the state told me to take it away. That's a problem. You know, the traffic calming, it acts as a traffic calming thing. But the other thing is, you know what the state were concerned about?
The state said that's our right to take it away.
But should that person be able to walk across the street?
You know, Yeah, and that's a blind spot, and actually, that's not a good spot to be crossing the street right there, because it is.
Even up around further,
Yeah,
where I was
up
talking
around
about.
further, but,
Leonard, I'm sorry.
I know I brought you into this conversation, Leonard, go ahead.
You said it created a problem with the tractor trailers coming down the hill.
Right, I still would like to see that better the other way.
I was gonna say, let it happen.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress. You're trying to solve.
No, I agree. I'm not saying that's the wrong thing, Leonard. I agree with you. I'm just saying, but what'll happen, there's another problem, and Darlene may even experience more trouble with tractor trailers coming down the hill and having to brake.
And you
You'll
should
probably
see,
hear a lot of Jake brakes.
You said something just now for the show later about your connections.
Not connections, KLH, our engineers.
Okay. That sign he's talking about, putting it up for no left turn coming up Chestnut, you gotta be able to get that done. And-
Well, that would be a PennDOT,
And
yeah.
I'll tell you what, if you can't, put in where that sidewalk makes that turn right there, they destroyed the culvert, the curb over the culvert.
Can we put in one of those ballards? Can we put a ballard in there?
I mentioned that, but that's
Can we
only
put
a
a ballard in there?
temporary, that's only a temporary solution. I'm saying put
Well-
in a steel post like you did.
That's what I mean, that's a ballard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know,
I thought you were-
there's actually some that aren't still that you could put in there that, I've seen them,
still with concrete.
no, there's some lady that sent one to me.
Plastic.
Yeah, but
They collapse.
yeah.
That's for what it is, like, you're on the highway coming down, you're at the end of the thing, it'll collapse. And I don't know about on the side, because you gotta make that curve. You know, you can come around, leave it open, leave people to walk across the street. But, start on Chestnut side, leave it opening, and then part way up, Summit. No tractor trailers can make it without destroying it. But, we're just gonna repair the curb, the sidewalk, and I don't know what kind of damage may have been already done to the culvert.
I know. Well, not only that, I mean, they're done in, Cefellos, same thing with him, he's had a problem, his trucks come down and they can't make the turn, they run over his car. He had to repair it himself. He was, it was all trucks making the turn. Our borough is not made at all for tractor trailers. I mean, I know there's businesses that need tractor trailers, but the turning radius on a lot of these corners just they're
The
not
state just
consistent.
wanted to know what's on Chestnut Street because it's a property, correct?
I can tell you one thing, we'll have the police out there this week on Chestnut again, I mean, Forsyth and Chestnut, make sure they have a presence. Right, Chief?
From Grandview to Ridge. Anyway.
Thank you, Leonard.
And one last thing, Darlene, you saw the traffic citations. We have 2.5 times more traffic stops than we have citations. So maybe almost 3 times more traffic stops than we have citations. So
They
that,
should scream at them if they don't give them a ticket. They
Well,
should
I know
scream
some of
at
our
them,
officers-
scare the Jesus out of them.
they are doing it, so.
Two things, and just before, rather than go on with this tonight, 2 things that I learned from this discussion that I've heard repeatedly over the years as being on council. And I've been told by some and others that it doesn't matter. Number 1 is that you'd obviously, to get more police officers.
I'd be willing to pay more.
There you go, that's the first one. Just wanted to point that out. The second thing is that people care about their roads. And those are the 2 things that, like I said, in 8 years on council, that repeatedly, when you go to knock on someone's door asking for their vote, when are you paving my road? When are you going to hire another cop? Those are the 2 things that consistently come up. And it's no different from whether you guys, two of you in the audience tonight, or whether we have 60 of you in the audience at one point. Those are the things that consistently come up. And I just want council, all of council, to be aware of that this evening. I mean, that was one of the reasons why we brought back the 13th officer.
Please let me say, I think that our police officers, I love our community. I think it's a great community. If I didn't, I would move. Or at least try to. I think that they do a great job. Anytime that I've ever needed them, when my neighbors, the girl that lived in the duplex, his boyfriend went off and started emptying a clip at 2:30 in the morning, they were up there like that. I mean, I appreciate those guys. But I think, like for the meters, if we can't do a full-time, let's do 2 part-time, save money that way. If we had to add 1/10 of what is it called? A mill? 1/10 of a mill to have that done, not only for Chestnut Street, coming down this, what is this, Mansfield? I'm 25 and this actor comes zipping by me on every street. It's everywhere. Not only on Chestnut, but it is a Hellacious Hill. But I mean, I've seen it a lot. I mean, maybe because I watch.
The two things I think people are willing to pay for is obviously, if you have to raise taxes, obviously public safety being number one and roads being number two.
Well, they do a great job too. I give them credit too. They remove that snow and whatnot, have you, like that. And I appreciate that, thank you.
I'm not saying taxes are being raised, but I'm just pointing
Right,
that out.
exactly.
Just pointing that out for
Exactly.
discussion purposes.
And just to let you know, me, Phil, and Rick worked on the contracts, and the police were certainly open under this bargaining as far as part-time police. But we looked at it, by the time you purchase the firearm, you purchase the uniform, now the guy goes to the next department. Well, you can't hand down that uniform to the next guy because it's not going to fit. You know, we want our officers to look good. We looked at the overall cost, and it really didn't make much sense, at least at this time, to pursue that. But I'll say that the police union certainly was open to those talks if we find a way to do it. So that was something we did discuss.
I believe that if there was an officer giving tickets out consistently, it would only take a certain period of time and word would get around. If you speed on that street, you'll get a ticket, and nobody that I know of likes to get hit in the wallet or the pocketbook. Nobody. I mentioned other neighborhoods, and I was told that they have more police officers, and that is true. But I could name it to you. I had a friend in Moon that lived on Thorn Run Road, and if you went half of a mile an hour over the speed limit on Thorn Run Road, you were getting a ticket.
Do you notice whether,
Just for example.
ma'am, may I ask a question? Do you notice that the traffic issue has something to do with the amount of speed? You know, since we have all this extra traffic,
It's been up 22
it's been worse.
years. It's been worse as of late,
Mhm.
especially with the buses and the trucks, people that are unfamiliar. And a lot of Ryder and Pence, whatever that yellow truck is, people are moving in. I mean, I watch. I mean, probably a whole lot more than the average.
Sure.
But and when I'm in my yard on my ride mower, there are times when I can honestly say, well, I'm afraid. They fly down there. And that's God is true, so help me.
Joe, will we have a good welfare with you?
I just want to just say that this is going to be Veterans Day coming up right now, and I made a sizable donation to the Warriors Project, and I've been very involved with that with regard to the Marine Corps because of my cousins being overseas, and I wish there was some way we could do more about that one issue. When I see these young people come back, both men and women come back, I wish there was some type of a public thing that we could start. Because that's a travesty. It's a travesty that everybody seems to want to sweep under the carpet. And it's not going to go away. Nobody wants to talk about things like that, but for some reason that's really hit me hard recently, and it's going to be Veterans Day. I don't know what I'm even saying right now, but I wish there was something in the community that we could do more for those young veterans that come back, like broken butterflies. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilman DeLoss?
Just continuing on the veterans theme, of course, for those who are veterans, there's a lot of places offering free meals as a token, a gesture of support. I know that I and a bunch of my friends go to Applebee's every Veterans Day for lunch, and it's always a great time. It's get a group of people together. But there's a lot of restaurants. I mean, Denny's, I got a short list, Denny's, Fridays, IHOP, Olive Garden, Golden Corral, Longhorn, Lone Star, Chili's, Outback, Red Lobster, just about everybody's doing something now
For Mandy's.
for Manny's. If you like your food in a sandwich that's not edible because of its size, so I would concur with Joe about the supporting of veterans. My father's a veteran, and my two brothers, myself, are veterans, and my daughter's an Iraq veteran. So it's a big deal in our family, and I appreciate any comments and support for everybody. One of the things that the veterans do is support the freedoms that we have in our country. One of those freedoms is the freedom to vote. Unfortunately, if people wanted to show support for veterans, they could go out and vote, but they don't. The laziness on voting is horrifically bad. But we did have an election last week, and so I would like to congratulate Sue Demko, Mike Sarsfield, and Stacy Riley for winning council seats, and welcome Sue and Mike back, and Stacy first time. So civil responsibilities that we all have, very critical civil responsibilities. I know everybody up here appreciates the freedom that we have in our electoral process. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilwoman Demko?
Just wanted to wish everybody a blessed Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it sounded like you were from Brad. Councilman Boyd?
Another fire department story, if you don't mind. Sometimes I actually get to have fun, and October was great because I got to go to the Carnegie Elementary School 3 different times. We did a private presentation. 3 of us went up and did a private presentation for the kindergarten class, and that was great. And you know, just seeing their eyes light up and teaching them not to be. There's a whole theme. There's a whole program we go through, but you know, they get to jump on the fire truck and all that stuff, and it's just, you know, it's an hour of our time that is just fun. That's all I can say about that. Another trip we took was with the 4th graders. I prefer the kindergartners. The 4th graders are a little more mature, a little tougher to handle, but I prefer working with the 4th graders. But you have a similar message for them. They're a little more mature, and we can show them a couple videos of what the inside of a building looks like when it catches on fire, and try and instill in them a real fear, and drive home the point that everybody needs to know 2 ways out of their house. And you see smoke or you smell smoke and you see fire or whatever, you go outside and you go to your meeting place, wherever that safe meeting place is. That's hopefully every home has a meeting place outside that you can go to. But and those are things that we do on our own, and that's great fun. But we also got to go support this other program. It's an 18-state program, and it's called Firefighter Phil. They put on a bunch of different programs, but they send a professional, what's that?
Firefighter Phil. My son came home and told me Firefighter Phil was at the school today, Dad.
Yeah, and Firefighter Phil was at the school, but I mean, that's the name of the program. It's not me. It is you. Well, it is.
You were famous.
Well,
in his eyes, you were famous.
They sent out a professional presenter, and I mean, this guy's a ham. He's a total cornball, but he's a ventriloquist, and he brings 2 dummies with him, or whatever you call them. One's called Spark the Dragon, and the other one's called Turbo the Tortoise. And Spark the Dragon drives home the message that kids shouldn't play with matches, they shouldn't play with lighters, all that kind of stuff. And Turbo the Tortoise is all about smoke detectors. In fact, Turbo the Tortoise's head is what's inside the guy's hand, and he goes back inside his house, pulls out his own smoke detector, brings it up, shows it to the kids, sets it off, and all that. It's all cornball, but the kids just light up when they see it, and evidently, as evidenced by Pat's child, they come home and they talk about the messages that they hear, and basically Turbo the tortoise tells everybody to go home and ask their parents if they changed their batteries in their smoke detector recently. It's just great fun, but working with the kids is a treat. So there you have it. And happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Councilman Sarsfield?
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to touch a little bit more on Veterans Day. You know, you say, how do I say thanks to the veteran? Walmart is certainly supporting the program, the Green Light program. So even if you don't know who the veterans are, when they go by, they see the green light, they know that you appreciate it. Yeah, Walmart, I believe, carries them. So, you know, but a little bit of history, that more soldiers were lost on the last day of World War I, 11,000 from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. than were lost on the whole invasion of D-Day some 27 years later. They actually were meeting in France to end the war at 5 a.m., but the word didn't get across, so the conflict continued until 11 a.m., which is, it's not good that day one you lose a life or the last day, but certainly what a travesty. But, you know, whether these vets served in World War I, World War II, Vietnam, I mean, the list of battles go on and on. Whether Army, Air Force, Marine Corps, they all do it, and if you ask any of them if they would do it again, each and every one of them tell you without hesitation. They were proud to do it, they would do it again, and they're proud of our country. But as Mr. DeWass pointed out, you know, part of the way outside the green light, you know, when you see a serviceman or you know somebody who served, thank them, but get out and vote. Take pride in your community. Take pride in displaying the American flag. Okay? There's multiple ways to say thanks to these guys and appreciate what they do. And certainly the Wounded Warrior Project is near and dear to my heart. It's a great program. Perhaps sometime this year we can contact them and look to maybe have a fundraiser right here in our own borough to raise some money for the Wounded Warrior Project, because it's helped so many people and so many more need that help. And that's all I have, and I want everybody to have a safe and blessed Thanksgiving, and be thankful for the food that you have, and maybe if you know somebody who's not so well off, maybe help them, give a meal. I know that the mayor's always involved with programs like that, and I applaud him for all his efforts. But before you lift up that fork, maybe say thanks to the veterans that day too. And God bless all of you.
Thank you. I just have a few things this evening. I'll make them brief. Congratulations, Mike, Sue, Stacy. January will be sworn in. You'll be up here with the rest of us. You get to enjoy all the funny games we get to have every day. Happy Thanksgiving, a blessed Thanksgiving to each and every one of you. And a brief story. My son's 10. He's a Boy Scout. And this weekend, he had a service project. We had to serve lunch at the Center for the Veterans in Aspinwall. And obviously, a lot of these people, a lot of these individuals, a 10-year-old at a veteran center, it's the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, he was talking to all of them. They were telling him that all of their stories, and he was asking them all these questions, and then he came home in the car and he started asking me questions about things. And he was asking me about, and where I'm going with this, he was asking me about my grandfather. He said, Daddy, did Daddy ever, did my father ever serve? And my father never served. There was nothing going on. There was no, there was nothing going on at the time. But my grandfather served, and I realized he was, where my son was going with all of this was he was asking who in our family basically was a veteran or served or what have you, and I realized on the way home that his grandfather had served. He was a PT commander. My grandfather was a PT commander in World War II. And the sad thing was, my grandfather passed away before my 10-year-old was born. So my 10-year-old had no idea that my grandfather was in the war, served, was a veteran, what have you. But I guess where I'm going with all of this is we need to be cognizant that we're sharing the past with the future, because you take things for granted on a daily basis, and you just might not take the time to explain things or share things, because what's going to happen, you're going to get to the point that your history, my grandmother always shared stories with me about Carnegie and so on and so forth, but you're going to get to the point that your history is going to be lost if you're not sharing it with the future. And that's where I guess I'm going with all of this, that you need to take the time to basically explain to our kids and grandkids and what have you, what their family was and what the past was, and if they had veterans. And take the time to actually do it, because he was very interested in all of this. And it's just something that, like I said, just time is so precious nowadays. We're always rushing from here to there to the next place. You never take the time to explain anything. And I finally took the time to explain that to my son. I think he thinks a little bit differently of things now. So, but like I said, don't ever take anything for granted. I mean, always make sure that, I mean, you're just not doing things just to get things done, not going through the routine of life, I guess, per se. So, thank you, everyone. Again, blessed Thanksgiving to all of you. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, everyone.